Yo, what's good YouTube? ZAMCRO here, aka Scoop, back with the Ninamori Nation Draft League. Um, we have our round 2 of the playoffs, so the semifinals. The winner of this will go on to the finals. We faced off against Predator 30 in week 3, or excuse me, week 5, and we were able to come out with a victory there. He brings the same squad as last time as well. Probably the best 6 versus me. And at the same time, I have a very, very similar squad, yet bringing Mudsdale this time instead of, what did I bring last time? Not even entirely sure what I brought last time. I don't think it was Suicune. May have been, but I don't think so. Anyways, so he's got this ridiculous stall team. He also has things like Skarmory, Quagsire, nuisances, you know, the natural or the common stall teams on the ladder and things like that. My man had a full squad. A very, very potent squad at that. Facing off against stall in itself is just annoying. It's just like depressing. You don't want to do it. Man's kill leader, it was Ditto on the regular season, I believe. And behind that was Toxapex. So that's just insane to me that both of those Pokemon combined for more than like 50-60% of my opponent's knockouts, whether they were direct or indirect, it does not matter. So my opponent's full squad: Mega Sableye, Gothitelle, Toxapex, Reuniclus, Mandibuzz, Skarmory, Chansey, Quagsire, Ditto, and the Shelmet. So pretty potent squad in terms of being a fair squad or a fair stall squad. Very well put together, I think. He was able to get all the pieces that he needs. He's got the Trapper, he's got the Regenerator, he's got the Mandibuzz, which can switch in on things like Sleep Powder and with its Overcoat ability and defog hazards away. Chansey with the Eviolite, Stealth Rocks, Toxic, pretty much. Just a huge nuisance. And then he has things like Skarmory and Reuniclus, which could be offensive or defensive depending. But since he has a stall team, I expected more defense than anything. Last time I brought a 4 attacks Mega Metagross. My Hydreigon and Clefable and even my Landorus are pretty much very, very similar to the last team I brought. I brought a Stallbreaker Hydreigon with a little bit of special attack investment. This time I'm bringing a Stallbreaker Hydreigon with a little bit of defense investment. So, and we are outpacing the Mandibuzz in case you wanted to kind of be cheeky with that and try to throw off a Toxic on a slower Hydreigon. I don't need speed for his team, so expecting Mandibuzz to maybe try to speed creep me could be a thing. Clefable is a Life Orb variant with the Magic Guard ability, able to just blow through my opponent's squad once the Chansey's beat down a little bit. Landorus Incarnate is the same exact set as last time, except this time instead of bringing Stealth Rocks, we're bringing Gravity. Because he has things like Skarmory, and it would also bop Mandibuzz and Ditto Landorus. If he copies my Ditto, or copies my Landorus, I can hit him up with the Life Orb Earth Power, and since he isn't Life Orb, or more than likely Choice Scarf, I will outpace him, or excuse me, I should be able to survive his Earth Power and knock him out with my own. Oricorio, last time I brought a Swords Dancing, Nasty Plot, Baton Pass variant, so that I could Baton Pass into any of my Pokemon with whatever stat boost I decided to go with. But this time I decided to bring a Taunt, Roost, Dual Stab variant, and Mudsdale is a sub Stealth Rock variant with Earthquake and Roar. So, it should be a fun match. I am going to lead off with my Mega Metagross, hoping that he leads off with something like the Toxapex. Last time he led Sableye and I led Clefable, I expect him to think that I'm going to lead off with my Clefable. And I expect him to lead off with his Toxapex. So what I'm going to do is lead off with my Mega Metagross here. And unfortunately, my opponent leads off with the Sableye here. So because this league, the the NNDL, the Nenamori Nation Draft League, does not force players to Mega Evolve on the first turn. My opponent could abuse Prankster and throw off a Will-O-Wisp here. And I definitely don't want to be burned. I do not have a Cleric on this squad, so I can't necessarily just click sub like I want to. So what I'm going to do is hard switch out into my Oricorio in case he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. I would much prefer a burn on this thing as opposed to being poisoned. So he does go for the Protect, which gives me valuable information. He's going to be able to scout throughout the match. If he thinks I'm Choice Scarf Hydreigon or Choice Scarf Landers, he will always click Protect, scout what I'm going to go for, and then switch accordingly. And same thing for Metagross. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull a double switch out into my Clefable. As he pulls a switch out into Ditto, and now he's able to see my set. He knows I am a Moonblast, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Soft Boil set, knows I cannot touch his Chansey, so he goes immediately out into his Chansey. And I'm just going to hard switch out into my Mudsdale here as my opponent gets Stealth Rocks up. So I don't want to click Rocks on the first turn, as he could go into Mega Sableye and I would get nothing out of it. So what I'm going to do is actually click Sub, and that puts me really low. really low. Fortunately, I do have a defense boost now, but not going to be enough. I do get my rocks up, and I'm going to have to hard switch out this turn, and my opponent catches me, man. He catches me with the Thunder Wave. I don't know why. I guess he just had nothing else to lose. Though I was an offensive Mudsdale, so I could have potentially started to break through this Chansey, or at least put him in range of things like Mega Metagross and Landorus. Obviously, he could just Seismic Toss and Soft Boil, but he didn't know my set there. But he does make a fantastic play here on turn 7. Paralyzes my Hydreigon, which could be very unfortunate if I get paralyzed too much or just unable to move and he's able to murk me. Really unfortunate. So here, don't want any kind of weird shenanigans coming out. I'm going to taunt him as he goes for the Seismic Toss. And that's not too bad. I can just roost up as he goes for another Seismic Toss. And at this point I realized, hey, he's going to run out of Seismic Toss eventually. And that will be good for me. So I'm just going to start roosting up. And then I'm going to pull a switch out into my Oricorio after this turn, I believe. So I'm going to roost up once more. He goes for the Seismic Toss once more. I pull a switch out to my Oricorio as he goes for the Thunder Wave again. And now what I can do is taunt him with my Oricorio. So he can go for the Seismic Toss all he wants. It's not going to do much. I can roost off the damage pretty easily. And he pulls a switch out into his Sableye. So not bad. He could click Protect here. So what I'm going to do actually is go hard into my Clefable. And he goes for the Toxic. Now, expecting Protect or a switch, I'm going to pull a switch out into my Mega Metagross here. Knowing that he's got Toxic and Protect now, I'm not too afraid of what he could be. So what I'm going to do is sub up here on his Protect. As my opponent does go for the Protect, I do get the sub off, and now I'm going to start Meteor Mashing. Mash. So he goes into Mandibuzz. This thing's 2-hit KO'd with or without the attack boost. Definitely didn't need it to knock him out, but having it is really nice. It's going to be able to allow me to break through the rest of his team pretty easily as well. So get the 2-hit KO on Mandibuzz, get the first knockout on turn 19, and he goes into Chansey here. Surprisingly able to live a +1 Meteor Mash from an adamant Mega Metagross, which has a lot of attack investment. So kudos to that thing. Does break my sub, and now he has a Choice Scarf Mega Metagross with the attack boost. So here I get an attack boost, but I don't want Mega Metagross going down just yet. So I sack off my Mudsdale because I see a way that I can avoid being just murked by this thing. So what I'm going to do is go into Oricorio. I'm taking about 55% here. 55 to 65% or so. So what I'm going to do is roost up and make him waste some of his PP. So he gets 59% there, and hopefully he gets around the same here. Unfortunately, he does not. So he's able to pick up a knockout, and now I'm forced to bring in my Mega Metagross, as it's not going to be the Mon to finish everything off here. However, I could have went into Landorus there and had him waste his last mash on my Landorus instead of my Mega Metagross. where he would be forced to struggle versus my Mega Metagross instead of my Landorus, which would actually be beneficial for the rest of my team versus the rest of his team. I am able to survive the +2 struggle, knock him out with the Earth Power as he goes into Gothitelle, traps me, reveals Hidden Power Ice and a Choice Scarf, just like the last time we played, which is fine, it's not too big of an issue. And here, predicting his Toxapex to come out, I'm going to go straight for the Life Orb Thunderbolt. And I'm going to double up on it because there's a chance for paralysis. And unfortunately I don't get it and he recovers up. So here I have a big play. I can click Thunderbolt again, or I can click Moonblast, expecting him to go into his Gothitelle or Sableye. So what I'm going to do is click Thunderbolt. Getting damage on this Toxapex is too valuable to not attack. He goes into Gothitelle though. There is no para, and he's able to survive and gets rid of my Life Orb, and at the same time gives me a Choice Scarf. But I am able to put him in range of Stealth Rocks there before he switches out, which is nice for me. Allows me to, first of all, I got Rocks up, so when he switches in Gothitelle, it's going to drop. And if I can put the Mega Sableye in range of Rocks, then that would be fantastic as well. Here, though, this is where the game is going to get so insane. Alright, so this is where things, like I said, are going to get very, very, very interesting. Long, stally, very, very annoying. I was able to pick up a flinch here, but I do get paralyzed the following turn, so it kind of evens out there. Thankfully, it didn't change the game, because I wanted to see if I could beat him, if I could just outplay the rest of this. So there's going to look like a lot of pointless switching, but it's all calculated. Based on his PP and the moves he's shown and things like that, and Gothitelle being dead upon Stealth Rock entry is really solid for me. And what I'm trying to do is PP stall him before he can PP stall me. Thankfully, these paras are actually coming in clutch for me, which is kind of unfortunate for the both of us, as that allows my PP to remain intact as his falls. I was just magic bounced back my taunt. That's going to happen a few times. I don't mind that happening, because I can just switch back and forth. It's not too big of an issue. Another thing about my Hydreigon and my Clefable is Clefable, first of all, is poisoned, so it can't be paralyzed or anything like that. Hydreigon is paralyzed, so it can't be poisoned, which is fantastic. Both Pokemon are right where they need to be. Both can recover up without taking too much damage from hazards, as I do have leftovers on Hydreigon, as well as Magic Guard on Clefable. So I guess the main thing would be getting some of the predictions right. Unfortunately, my Clefable is Choice Scarfed, so it's a lot harder to kind of dissect my opponent. I can't switch up my moves. It's not as easy for me to beat him as it would be for him to beat me. This is an extremely long battle, though, so if you guys want to skip to the end, that's completely fine with me. A lot of these plays are just, spamming Dark Pulse, spamming Taunt, spamming Roost, switching into Clefable, throwing off a few attacks, switching out, switch back into Clefable, do the same thing, switch out. Once my Pokemon start getting low from the damage buildup, I will Roost with Hydreigon, or I will Soft Boil with Clefable, and this goes on for quite a long time. I believe the actual battle was close to 55 minutes or so. We started around 6:10, 6:15, and finished just after 7 o'clock. Insane. Probably the longest battle. And it's definitely the longest battle in terms of turns, but in terms of minutes, it's close. Especially since I've played a lot of Wi-Fi battles too, so I've had some timer games that go the full hour. But yeah, the main thing is trying to get this Toxapex to use Scald. I want it to use Scald more. If he runs out of Scald, which is the reason that I taunt with Hydreigon at all, to force him to click Scald, is to run his PP out. Once he can't Scald my Clefable or my Hydreigon, I'm in a really, really solid position. Unfortunately, Dark Pulse only has a limited amount of PP, 24, and that can easily run out. Landing a Moonblast on Mega Sableye would be really, really nice too if he over predicts. That's another thing with a lot of the switching. I can switch straight into my Clefable, switch straight back out into my Hydreigon, switch right back out into my Clefable, switch right back out into my Hydreigon, over and over and over. Fire off attacks. What's the word? Every so often. I couldn't think of a word there. But yeah. If I were to land, throwing some flamethrowers off is okay for me as well. If he throws in Gothitelle, it's sacked. If he throws in Sableye, there's the potential for the burn. Toxapex did get Thunderbolt parried earlier, so that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, what that does is allow him to burn some turns without using PP, though, kind of like my Hydreigon. Unfortunately, mine was accidental, whereas his was, purposely done, so he was able to. His pair was part of his game plan. Mine was not. So that's what I was trying to get at there. So at 171 turns, if I think we rewind back to turn 29 or 34, somewhere in the 30s or below, I think is when I came down to 2 Pokemon. So I've played 140 turns with 2 Pokemon here. Versus this Stolly team. It's just very, very annoying. I'm glad the early game, we got 7 Pokemon total knocked out in the early game, which is fantastic for me because facing 6 of these Pokemon would be insane right now. I think Stallbreaker Hydreigon is really good versus Stall. Especially in draft when I can tailor make my set, put the custom EVs on there and things like that. This Hydreigon is pretty much unbreakable versus his squad unless he was to predict me correctly, or maybe have something like catch me with a toxic and whittle me down that way. Okay, so we're coming into turn 202 here. So there's about 30 turns left or so, about 35 turns left, and we can slow it down here. So we'll be right back. With the battle coming to an end soon, right now on turn 207, what do you guys think is going to be the outcome? It's been a long. This is not a Pokemon battle. This is a Pokemon war. Now let's get into it. So, he's close to half. He's 63%. I don't expect him to stay in here and click Protect. Though he does. I predicted the Toxapex, so I clicked Thunderbolt here. And it's not a big issue, because I can switch right out to my Hydreigon here. So he recovers up. So annoying for me to deal with that. Hard switch back into my Clefable as he goes for the Foul Play for damage. Here I can just click Thunderbolt again, or I can click Moonblast. The play is to click Thunderbolt. If I got the para on Sableye, then he would be in a very, very, very bad position. He actually gets paralyzed here, which is unfortunate, but he can easily switch into his Sableye, which I expect. And I switch out to my Hydreigon, but he actually stays in, making a big boy play there, and was able to get back to a range to where a Dark Pulse crit won't knock him out here. So he can stay in and try to recover once more, or he can switch out. So I'm just going to double out into my Clefable as my opponent just clicks the recover. So good play on him. Now he's back to close to full. Well, he's actually at full, 99. After I believe Black Sludge, he'll be at full. And I go into my Hydreigon, double back out into my Clefable as he goes for Toxic Spike. So he's using some of his PP now, realizing that he can't just switch around like I do, because well, he could actually switch around more than me. This is something during the battle that I had to really think about. A lot. Like, I would catch myself using too much PP instead of switching around. That's why these switches seem like so random, but they're actually not. It was just me not concentrating at sometimes and concentrating more at other times, and realizing like, hey, I don't need to use PP. What I need to do is just switch, just continuously switch. And here, my opponent hits me with the haze. Not too big of an issue. Not an issue at all. Just gonna keep switching around here. That's all I have to do as he burns his haze PP. It's fine for me. It's actually really good for me. And what happens here, as you guys can see on screen, is I get the Moonblast crit as he stays in with Sableye. So the crit didn't matter. It was going to be a 2-hit KO. He couldn't recover up regardless. But what he could do is switch out. Fortunately, he has to play, for me, he has to play extremely well. If I didn't get the crit, that is. He can't win since I got the crit. He can't win since I got the crit. I don't think he can win since I got the crit. But even without the crit, it would have been very, very much in my favor. Since I just started switching around like that again. I was just going to waste all of his Toxapex PP, and then go through Sableye PP, and then watch him struggle, and then do the same. Well, Gothito comes in on rocks and dies anyway. But I get the Moonblast crit here. I'm going to go for the Moonblast again as he clicks Protect. And I'm going to click it again right here. No reason not to. But he actually does make a decent play there. It seems boneheaded, like why would you save Sableye? But it actually gives him a sack for later in the game to, bypass PP with Regenerator and to save turns, which is really nice. But he sacks one Pokemon after another. Toxapex comes in. I taunt. He's going to have to struggle. And that with the combination of Hydreigon and Clefable, I'm just going to start spamming Thunderbolt here. Nice chunk of damage. Would have much preferred to have my Life Orb, but what can you do about that? Here my opponent is going to, I believe, recover up as I switch into my Hydreigon. I don't need to waste my Thunderbolt PP just yet. And since he is, he's going to run out of PP here soon anyway, so it's not too big of an issue. Why I taunted, even though he would start struggling and not use PP, is because I wanted to defog without him getting hazards back up immediately. Defogging only saves Hydreigon from taking residual damage, and he can't get rocks back up. If he gets Toxic Spikes back up, that doesn't affect me anyway. So what he's going to do here is he's going to forfeit the game. He realizes he cannot win the game at that point, and we are able to take the victory. Oh my gosh, a 2-0 victory, 239 turns, going to the finals. Fun fact, Pred beat me in the Season 2 playoffs, semifinals, went to the finals and won. We both made it to the finals last season, and I was able to defeat him in the finals. So each time we've beat each other in the playoffs, the one that won the playoff match won the championship. So looks good in my favor. However, K Kirby and Poketai have yet to play. The winner of that will advance, and we will be facing them next week in the finals. So look out for that. Let me know what you guys thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field here in this game. Let me know what you guys think about 239 turns. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I was actually able to record this live for about 25-30 minutes. But the battery on my recording device got really low, and it was going to, when it gets at a certain point, it bugs out. And when it bugs out, it loses my data, or my footage. So I saved what I had, and then started charging this, but this wasn't charged back up by the time the battle ended. So yeah, that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys thought. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff. And let me know if you guys would like to see the live portion in another video, just so you can see live thoughts and things like that. Up to the point, I think like turn 115 or something like that, we had at least that much live footage. Of course, a lot of it was really, really bad commentary. Me going blank and just thinking about my turns, and sometimes going in autopilot when I was switching like that. And yeah, that's about it. So let me know if you guys would like to see that or not. It's not a big deal to me. Like I said, I thought it was pretty bad commentary. But yeah, it's gonna be it. Leave everything in the comment section. Hit the like button, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.